Something that's always been a city thing, and certainly is exacerbated as temperatures go up, is this heat island effect, which we see here in Newark. If you look at the local weather and you look at the temperatures in some of the more suburban areas surrounding us and the temperatures in downtown Newark, there can be a difference of many degrees there between the two, especially in the summertime months. And the more gardens and green spaces you have, the less materials are around that absorb this radiation the way our concrete, our asphalt, our brick and stone, and all our man-made substances and buildings do. And you're literally cooling your city.
During COVID, I was sort of tasked with, I teach an entrepreneurship class in the spring phase. And I was trying to figure out, in a virtual environment, what do you teach about entrepreneurship? And what I found is we have this asset sort of sitting in the back of the property. It had grown substantially. There were beds. There were already 4 large beds back there, and it was difficult for them, right, to sort of keep it going after the spring phase projects, because you needed people in the summer. So I looked at it and said, well, maybe I could use that for a spring phase project. And then it sort of all just came together. We had kids who were interested. We had vendors who were interested in participating. So we decided to make it a full-time project for the entire year.
When you hear gardening or you hear farming, you think that, you can only work outside and you have to till soil or stuff like that, but there's a lot more to it. Because we donate to the food pantry, we handle money. We have a hydroponic table inside the building. There's a marketing sect, there's a engineering sect of the garden. It's just it's more than what it seems in the sense when it comes to diversity. Like, your talents more than likely can be used in the garden.
Caring and noticing things about the environment has been a part of my household since I was little. I remember, clearly, if someone threw out a shampoo bottle in the garbage can, my mom would sit us all down and figure out who did not recycle the bottle. My dad's an environmental engineer, so he would put on, household hazardous waste days to make sure that household waste like, washer fluid or paint was disposed of properly from homes. So I was always conscious about my footprint on this earth from that. My dad had a garden growing up, so, it was natural to go out in the backyard and get some cherry tomatoes instead of going to the store. And as I've gotten older, because of climate change and everything that's happening, it's always in the forefront of my mind.
Farming is really how a lot of people survive, how they feed their families. Growing up in America, you think that the way things are in America, they are everywhere else. I think that is also part of what drove me to start gardening, because of the perspective I have of how things are in different third world countries. I've even experienced farming in Panama, but I didn't spend too long there. But these third world countries, this is how they eat. They don't go to supermarkets. They may go to a market, but they don't go to supermarkets to feed themselves. They don't have packaged grapes or anything like that. This is stuff they have to do. Anything they want, they have to plant it themselves. And I think that is the beauty of farming. When you actually okay, I'm planting this seed, it could grow if I take care of it well, it could not grow, who knows. When it actually grows, it's like, wow, I remember when this little thing was just a seed. So, that is really part of the beauty of agriculture. It changes your view on a lot of things. It does make you appreciate food more, especially when it takes a long time for that food. In their circumstance, that is how they, number one, feed themselves, number two, feed other people, number three, that is their careers, the produce that they make. I genuinely enjoy what I do at the garden, and when it comes to selling it, when it comes to the treasury, when it comes to the actual down and dirty work, having to carry woodchucks all across the back of the Leahy house, it is truly an experience, truly an activity that I like and I enjoy doing. So yeah, I definitely would try to incorporate into my time next year. But
when you start learning about the power of one, what one person can do to contribute to a better environment for everybody, you're like, what can I do with my ecosystem, my land that I live on? And that includes so many things. I mentioned about gardening for pollinators and endangered populations that are important to us, to growing my own food. So the farm to table is literally just a couple steps, rather than everything I'm buying is from a store where something was trucked in, or even a farmer's market, which of course is a better choice than buying something out of season at a store. But if I can literally go out in my backyard, grow something without pesticides, grow something organically, and then literally just pick it and bring it inside, I've eliminated the transportation issue of bringing that food to my home and to my family. And that, I get a great sense of accomplishment out of that too.
But I think the greatest thing about children is they do bring hope. And so if you could frame, as I said before, climate change in a way of possibilities rather than limitations, then I think that can steer us in the right direction. And even like the students, they think creatively too. And so maybe exposing them to the garden is going to help them think about something else they could do. Or maybe they'll want to go into college and see the way we're struggling with these raised beds and think of a new way for us to work with hydroponic tables or other ways to harvest vegetables in the future. So I think the students are more capable than they know, and the fact that we're phrasing this in a positive light of like looking like what we can create rather than what we're not going to be able to create in a few years is a good thing.